Hello, my name is Gus, and I'm a specialist in nonverbal communication and body language reading. Over the years, I've deeply studied how people communicate beyond words. Why? Because I've been fooled more times than I'd like to admit. I decided to write this book after seeing countless people being deceived, manipulated, and misled simply because they couldn't read the signals right in front of them. By sharing my knowledge, I hope to empower readers to understand others and themselves better, making their interactions more transparent and authentic. Body language plays a crucial role in our ability to detect lies. Words can often be manipulated, but body signals are harder to control and therefore reveal hidden truths. When someone tries to hide the truth, their body can give away small clues, a shift in gaze, a tense smile, an involuntary movement. These small signals, often unnoticed, can be the key to understanding what's really going on. By becoming more attuned to nonverbal cues, we start to develop a greater sensitivity to what is genuine and what is fabricated. This book aims to be a guide to awakening this skill, helping the reader navigate the web of gestures and expressions we encounter daily. It's not about turning the reader into a body language detective, but rather providing the tools to protect themselves from deception and manipulation. Imagine being in a business meeting where words are chosen carefully, but movements cannot hide the truth. Or in an intimate conversation where the words sound comforting, but the body conveys discomfort and hesitation. By understanding these signals, you can make more informed decisions and avoid falling into emotional or professional traps. What this book offers is not a magic formula, but rather an invitation to observation and reflection. By delving into the study of body language, you not only enhance your communication skills, but also develop greater awareness of yourself and others. It's a continuous learning process, where every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice and grow. So, as you progress through this book, allow yourself to question and interpret the signals around you. Use the knowledge you gain to avoid being deceived, but also to better understand those you interact with. Ultimately, body language reading is a powerful tool to connect more authentically and truthfully with the world around you. Chapter 1: Fundamentals of Body Language Reading. What is body language reading? Body language reading, or nonverbal communication, is the art of interpreting signals emitted by the human body. It involves observing gestures, postures, facial expressions, and movements that often reveal more than spoken words. These signals can be intentional or unintentional, conscious or unconscious, and provide a rich source of information about a person's feelings, thoughts, and intentions. The importance of body language reading lies in its ability to complement and often clarify verbal communication. Words can be carefully chosen and even manipulated to hide the truth, but the body frequently speaks to more honest language. The ability to interpret these signals can be crucial in various contexts, from job interviews and business negotiations to social and personal interactions. Understanding nonverbal language can help us detect lies, avoid deception, and build more genuine and effective relationships. The history of body language reading dates back to ancient times when humans began developing more complex forms of communication. The first systematic studies of this nonverbal language were conducted by Charles Darwin in the 19th century with his work, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. Darwin proposed that many facial expressions and gestures are universal and innate, challenging the view that nonverbal communication was entirely learned and culturally determined. In the 20th century, research on body language gained momentum with scholars like Ray Birdwhistell, who coined the term kinesics to refer to the study of body movements as a form of communication. He argued that a large portion of human communication is nonverbal, and that these signals can be systematically analyzed. Other researchers, such as Paul Ekman, further advanced this field by studying facial microexpressions and developing methods to detect true and false emotions. Ekman identified several universal facial expressions corresponding to basic emotions such as joy, sadness, anger, and fear, showing how these expressions can be used to understand a person's true emotion, even if they try to hide it. Body language reading has also been explored in practical contexts such as forensic psychology, where it is used to detect lies and deception. Professionals in this field learn to observe specific signals like gaze aversion, changes in posture, and facial microexpressions to identify inconsistencies between what is said and what is demonstrated. In corporate environments, the ability to read body language can enhance communication effectiveness, helping leaders better understand their teams and conduct more effective negotiations. Despite its importance, body language reading is not an exact science. Many variables must be considered, and interpreting nonverbal signals requires context and sensitivity. For instance, crossing arms can be a sign of defensiveness but can also simply indicate that someone is cold. Similarly, eye contact can vary widely between cultures, with some societies viewing it as a sign of sincerity and others seeing it as disrespectful or confrontational. Moreover, nonverbal communication is multifaceted and can be influenced by factors such as personality, culture, and situation. Someone who is nervous may display signs of discomfort that are not necessarily linked to dishonesty, but rather to their own nervousness. Therefore, when interpreting body language, it is essential to consider the context and use a holistic approach, observing multiple signals rather than fixating on a single gesture or expression. Basic principles. Posture and gestures. Posture and gestures play a crucial role in nonverbal communication, revealing a wide range of emotions and intentions that are often not expressed verbally. The way a person positions and moves can convey confidence, insecurity, openness, or defensiveness, among other attitudes. When someone maintains an upright posture with shoulders back and head held high, it often suggests self-confidence and determination. This posture not only projects a positive image to others, but also influences the person's own perception of themselves. Studies show that adopting an expansive posture can increase testosterone levels and reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, promoting a sense of power and security. In contrast, a slouched posture with drooping shoulders and a lowered head can indicate insecurity, discouragement, or submission, creating an impression of vulnerability or fatigue. Gestures, on the other hand, are movements of the hands, arms, and head that complement or replace verbal communication. They can be categorized in various ways, including illustrators, which emphasize speech, emblems, which have specific and recognizable meanings, like nodding to indicate yes, regulators, which help control the flow of conversation, and adapters, which are unconscious responses to stress or discomfort. Open gestures, such as palms facing up and arms extended, generally indicate frankness and willingness to communicate. These movements suggest that the person is accessible and receptive, creating an environment of trust and empathy. In contrast, closed gestures, such as crossed arms or hands hidden in pockets, can signal defensiveness, distrust, or discomfort. These movements can be seen as a physical barrier the person raises to protect themselves, indicating that they may feel threatened or uneasy in the situation. The synchrony between gestures and words is also an important aspect of nonverbal communication. When hand movements accompany speech fluidly and naturally, they reinforce the verbal message, making communication more effective and persuasive. However, if there is a disconnect between what is said and the gestures made, it can create a perception of inconsistency, raising suspicions about the person's sincerity. For example, someone who claims to be calm while nervously rubbing their hands may be trying to hide their true anxiety. Moreover, gestures can vary culturally, and what is considered friendly in one culture may be seen as offensive in another. Therefore, it is essential to have cultural sensitivity when interpreting these signals. Researcher Paul Ekman highlighted the importance of considering cultural context when analyzing gestures and facial expressions, as ignoring these differences can lead to significant misunderstandings. When observing a person's posture and gestures, it is important to consider the context and patterns of behavior over time. A single gesture can have multiple meanings, and when analyzed out of context, it can lead to erroneous interpretations. For example, crossing arms can be a sign of defensiveness or simply a way to feel comfortable in a cold room. Facial expressions. Facial expressions are one of the most revealing aspects of nonverbal communication, conveying a wide range of emotions and intentions often more directly and honestly than words. The human face is incredibly expressive, capable of communicating subtle feelings through movements of facial muscles, which often escape conscious control. The expression of the eyes, for example, can reveal much about a person's emotional state. Wide-open eyes can indicate surprise or fear, while narrowed eyes can suggest distrust or skepticism. Eye contact is another crucial component. Direct eye contact can convey sincerity and interest, while avoiding eye contact may signal discomfort, shame, or an attempt to hide something. Research shows that pupil dilation can occur when someone is interested or attracted to something, although this response is generally involuntary. The movements of the eyebrows are also highly significant. Raised eyebrows can signal surprise, doubt, or curiosity, while furrowed eyebrows generally indicate confusion, concern, or displeasure. Studies suggest that microexpressions, brief and involuntary facial expressions, are particularly revealing. They can last only a fraction of a second but provide clues about true emotions before the person can consciously mask them. The smile is another powerful and multifaceted facial expression. A genuine smile, known as a Duchenne smile, involves the contraction of muscles around the eyes, creating wrinkles at the corners of the eyes and raising the cheeks. In contrast, a fake smile usually involves only the muscles around the mouth and does not affect the eyes, resulting in a less convincing expression. Studies by Paul Ekman and others have shown that people can generally distinguish between genuine and fake smiles based on these subtle differences. Tension in the muscles of the jaw and around the mouth can also be indicative of emotions. A clenched jaw can signal anger or frustration, while pressed lips can suggest emotional restraint or disapproval. Movements of the lips, such as biting or licking, can indicate nervousness, anxiety, or attempts at self-soothing. The cheeks and nose, though less frequently considered, also contribute to emotional communication. Flushed cheeks can indicate embarrassment or excitement, while wrinkling of the nose can express disgust or aversion. Sagging cheeks can be a sign of sadness or exhaustion. To correctly interpret facial expressions, it is essential to consider the context in which they occur. An expression that indicates one emotion in one setting may have a different meaning in another. Moreover, culture plays a significant role in how facial expressions are displayed and interpreted. Some cultures are more expressive and demonstrative, while others tend to be more reserved. Therefore, when analyzing facial expressions, it is vital to take cultural and contextual norms into account. The science of facial expressions has been widely studied and validated by researchers like Paul Ekman, who identified universality in certain basic expressions such as happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust. These expressions are recognized similarly worldwide, regardless of culture, suggesting a common biological basis for emotional communication. Eye movements. Eye movements are fascinating and revealing elements of body language, offering subtle and often involuntary clues about thoughts and emotions. The direction of the gaze, the duration of eye contact, and even small changes in the pupils can provide valuable insights into what a person is thinking or feeling. When someone is engaged in a conversation, the direction in which they look can be very telling. Looking to the right, especially upward, is often associated with imagining or constructing mental images, while looking to the left may be linked to recalling memories. Although this correlation is not an absolute rule, many psychology studies suggest that these patterns can be useful for understanding whether a person is creating a story or recalling something experienced. Eye contact plays a crucial role in interpersonal communication. Direct eye contact can signal interest, attention, and sincerity. On the other hand, avoiding eye contact may indicate shyness, discomfort, or an attempt to hide something. However, excessive eye contact or a fixed, unbroken stare can be perceived as aggressive or confrontational. Science shows that a balance in eye contact is essential for effective and comfortable communication. Studies demonstrate that maintaining eye contact for about 60 to 70% of the time during a conversation is ideal for establishing connection without causing discomfort. The pupils, small windows to the nervous system, also provide intriguing information. Pupil dilation can occur in response to interest or attraction, while contraction can be a sign of disinterest or even aversion. These changes are involuntary and thus can be reliable indicators of a person's emotional state. For example, in situations of high concentration or excitement, pupils tend to dilate, a phenomenon observed in various neuroscience studies. Rapid and involuntary eye movements, known as micromovements or microsaccades, can indicate nervousness or an attempt to process information quickly. When someone is lying, these movements can become more frequent, as the person is trying to monitor the interlocutor's reaction and adjust their narrative in real time. Research in behavioral psychology suggests that these eye movements increase when a person is under pressure to lie or hide the truth. Frequent blinking can also be revealing signs. In normal situations, people blink about 15 to 20 times per minute. However, in moments of stress or when someone is lying, this rate can increase significantly. Rapid blinking can indicate anxiety or discomfort, while a reduction in frequency can suggest a conscious effort to control facial expressions and maintain a calm appearance. Widening of the eyes, often associated with surprise or fear, is another important indicator. When someone is surprised or scared, their eyes tend to widen momentarily. This reflex is an automatic response of the sympathetic nervous system, designed to increase the visual field in potentially threatening situations. Empirical observations and experimental studies confirm that this eye movement is an instinctive reaction and difficult to suppress consciously. Additionally, lateral eye movements, such as looking from side to side, can indicate that someone is evaluating the environment or looking for an exit. In negotiation or discussion contexts, these movements can signal that the person is considering their options or looking for a way to avoid an uncomfortable situation. Research in nonverbal communication emphasizes that these gestures are often unconscious and reflect the person's internal state. Chapter 2: Identifying Lies. Signs of Deception. Detecting signs of deception through body language is a valuable and complex skill that involves interpreting a range of verbal and nonverbal indicators. These signals can be both voluntary and involuntary, and understanding this distinction is essential for accurate analysis. Common indicators of lying include changes in facial expressions, eye movements, posture, and gestures. One of the most frequent signs is the incongruence between what is said and the nonverbal behavior. When someone is lying, they may exhibit microexpressions that contradict their words. These quick and involuntary expressions can reveal emotions like fear, anxiety, or guilt, which are difficult to suppress. Eye movements are particularly revealing. People who are making up a story often look to the right, as this direction is associated with constructing mental images. In contrast, looking to the left may indicate recalling true memories. However, it is crucial to consider that these patterns can vary among individuals, and context should always be considered. A lack of eye contact or excessive eye contact can also be signs of discomfort or attempts at deception. Avoiding direct gaze often indicates that the person is uncomfortable or trying to hide something, while a fixed, unbroken stare might be an attempt to overcompensate for lying. Another significant indicator is unconscious gestures, such as touching the face, scratching the nose, or rubbing the eyes. These movements, known as adaptive gestures, are automatic responses to stress or anxiety. For example, touching the face may be an attempt to relieve the tension caused by lying. Research shows that when a person lies, there is an increase in brain activity, which can cause slight itching of the skin, leading to these gestures. Body posture also provides important clues. Individuals who are lying may appear restless, with repetitive hand and foot movements, or they may adopt a defensive posture, crossing their arms or legs. These postures are unconscious ways to protect the body and may indicate discomfort or the need to create a physical barrier. Conversely, an excessively rigid posture may be a conscious effort to appear calm and controlled, hiding the truth. Voice and speech patterns are other crucial elements in detecting lies. Changes in tone of voice, stuttering, frequent pauses, and irregular speech rhythms can be signs that the person is inventing or hiding information. The increase in heart rate and adrenaline release during lying can cause dryness in the mouth, resulting in more frequent swallowing or lip licking. Distinguishing between voluntary and involuntary signs is fundamental in correctly interpreting body language. Voluntary signs are those that the person controls consciously, such as smiling, nodding, or maintaining eye contact. These signs can be manipulated to appear convincing. For example, a liar may train themselves to maintain eye contact or smile convincingly. However, involuntary signs such as microexpressions, changes in skin color, pupil dilation, and adaptive gestures are much harder to control and therefore more reliable. Microexpressions are especially important because they last only a fraction of a second and reveal true emotions before the person can consciously suppress them. Studies conducted by Paul Ekman have shown that these facial expressions are universal and can indicate emotions such as fear, surprise, anger, or disgust. Careful observation of these expressions can provide valuable clues about the truthfulness of what is being said. Pupil dilation is another involuntary sign that can indicate deception. When someone lies, there may be an emotional response that results in pupil dilation. This reaction is an involuntary physiological response and can be an indicator of stress or excitement. However, caution should be exercised, as pupil dilation can occur for various reasons, including ambient lighting and genuine interest. Pauses and hesitations in speech are also important indicators. When someone is fabricating a story, it is common for there to be an increase in pauses and hesitations as the person tries to construct a convincing narrative. Additionally, body language may become unsynchronized with speech, resulting in gestures that do not match what is being said. Another sign to watch for is contradictory behavior. If a person claims to be happy while displaying an expression of sadness or discomfort, this incongruence can be a sign of deception. Body language tends to be more honest than words, and discrepancies between verbal statements and nonverbal behavior are clear indicators that something is not right. The frequency and pattern of eye blinks can also be revealing. Excessive blinking can indicate nervousness or discomfort, while a reduction in blinking may be a conscious effort to remain calm and avoid signs of deception. Studies show that increased blinking frequency can occur due to stress or the need to maintain consistent behavior while lying. When interpreting these signs, it is crucial to consider the context and the person's baseline behavior. What is normal for one person may be abnormal for another. Therefore, observing the person's behavior in different situations can help identify patterns and detect changes that may indicate deception. The baseline is the person's normal behavior when they are relaxed and telling the truth. Any significant deviation from this pattern during a conversation may indicate that something is wrong. Furthermore, it is important to remember that no single sign is definitive proof of lying. Detecting deception requires observing multiple signs and analyzing overall behavior. The combination of several indicators increases the likelihood of correctly identifying a lie. For example, if someone avoids eye contact, displays microexpressions of discomfort, frequently touches their face, and takes long pauses while speaking, the probability of lying is higher than if only one of these signs were present. Microexpressions and deception. Microexpressions are brief, involuntary facial expressions that occur in a fraction of a second, reflecting genuine emotions before a person can consciously mask them. These expressions are so quick that they often go unnoticed in the normal flow of human interaction, but can reveal a wealth of information about what a person is truly feeling. These tiny emotional manifestations have been extensively studied by Paul Ekman, one of the leading researchers in the field of psychology and nonverbal behavior. Ekman identified 7 basic emotions that are universally expressed through microexpressions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. Each of these emotions has specific patterns of muscle contraction that are consistent across all cultures, suggesting a common biological basis for emotional communication. When a person lies, they may try to control their facial expressions to appear convincing. However, microexpressions are automatic and very difficult to suppress. For example, someone telling a falsehood may display a superficial smile, but a keen observer might notice a microexpression of disgust or fear that lasts only an instant before the controlled expression takes over. This brief flash of true emotion can be a crucial indicator that the person is not being honest. Microexpressions can occur due to the internal conflict between the truth the person knows and the lie they are trying to tell. When someone lies, there is a dissonance between their words and their genuine feelings, and this tension can manifest through quick and involuntary facial expressions. For example, a person pretending to be calm might exhibit a microexpression of anxiety or anger that reveals their true emotional state. Identifying these expressions requires advanced observation skills and often specialized training. Techniques such as slow-motion video analysis can be used to detect these subtleties in forensic and security settings. However, with practice, it is possible to begin noticing these clues even without specialized equipment. The key is to pay attention to rapid and momentary changes in the face that do not match the predominant speech or behavior. A common example is the microexpression of surprise, which can occur when someone receives unexpected information. If a person is faking surprise upon hearing news they already knew, there may be an inconsistency between the prolonged expression of surprise and a microexpression of indifference or even disgust that appears briefly. This discrepancy can raise suspicions about the authenticity of the reaction. Additionally, microexpressions of disgust or anger can surface during a conversation where the person tries to appear friendly and cooperative but actually feels resentment or hostility. For example, in a business negotiation, an individual may maintain a neutral or friendly expression while talking, but a microexpression of anger or contempt may momentarily appear, indicating hidden negative feelings. The contexts in which these expressions occur are as varied as human nature itself. In personal interactions, someone lying about their feelings may display microexpressions of sadness while trying to appear happy. In a professional setting, an employee lying about a mistake may briefly show signs of fear or guilt before composing a calm and controlled expression. Microexpressions are also influenced by cultural context, but most researchers agree that the basic patterns are universal. This means that regardless of cultural background, the same fundamental emotions are expressed in similar ways. This universality makes reading microexpressions a powerful tool for cross-cultural communication and detecting deception in different social and cultural contexts. To apply this knowledge in everyday life, one must develop visual acuity and sensitivity to the nuances of human behavior. Observing people closely, especially in situations where the truth may be manipulated, can provide valuable insights. However, it is crucial to remember that microexpressions are only one of many signs of deception. They should be analyzed alongside other verbal and nonverbal indicators to form a complete picture of a person's truthfulness. Empirical studies support the effectiveness of reading microexpressions in detecting lies. In controlled experiments, observers trained to identify these expressions were significantly more accurate in detecting lies than those relying only on verbal cues or untrained signals. This demonstrates that, with proper training, the ability to read microexpressions can be developed and effectively applied in various fields, from security to clinical psychology. Training to identify these expressions often involves repeatedly viewing videos showing individuals experiencing different emotions. With practice, observers can learn to recognize the subtle and quick patterns of microexpressions. Additionally, facial recognition software is being developed to assist in this task, making the identification of microexpressions more accessible and accurate. Context and congruence. Accurate interpretation of body language heavily depends on the context in which the signals are observed and the congruence between words and actions. Context is crucial for understanding the true meaning of gestures, expressions, and movements. Without considering the environment and situation in which they occur, it is easy to make misinterpretations. For example, crossing arms can be seen as a sign of defensiveness or disinterest. However, if someone crosses their arms because they are in a cold environment, this interpretation is clearly incorrect. Similarly, avoiding eye contact might be interpreted as a sign of dishonesty, but in some cultures, this action is a sign of respect or shyness. Therefore, understanding the context is essential for correctly interpreting nonverbal language. Congruence between words and actions is another vital aspect of communication analysis. When there is a match between what is said and the behavior exhibited, the message is reinforced and appears more sincere. On the other hand, discrepancies between speech and behavior can indicate deception or internal conflict. For example, a person may verbally claim to be confident but display signs of nervousness, such as trembling hands or a closed posture, suggesting otherwise. The importance of congruence is supported by various scientific studies. Research shows that when words and actions align, communication is perceived as more authentic and trustworthy. Albert Mehrabian, one of the leading researchers of nonverbal communication, suggests that the credibility of a message is strongly influenced by the consistency between verbal and nonverbal communication. According to his studies, when there is incongruence, people tend to believe nonverbal signals more than the spoken words. To assess congruence, it is necessary to carefully observe both verbal and nonverbal signs. If someone says they are happy but has a sad facial expression, this incongruence is a clue that something is not being said. Similarly, if a person claims to be calm while exhibiting microexpressions of anxiety, there is a clear dissonance between their words and their true emotions. Context also plays a crucial role in interpreting congruence. In a formal work environment, a constant and exaggerated smile may seem out of place and suspicious, while at a casual party, the same behavior may be perfectly normal. Therefore, it is essential to consider the environment when evaluating the consistency between words and actions. Moreover, knowing a person's history and behavioral pattern is important for interpreting congruence. Understanding how someone normally behaves in different situations can help identify when there is a significant discrepancy. For example, if a person is generally extroverted and expressive but suddenly becomes withdrawn and laconic, this may indicate that something is wrong, even if their words suggest otherwise. Another important aspect is the duration of facial expressions and gestures. Microexpressions, which are brief and involuntary, can reveal true emotions before the person can consciously hide them. If a person expresses prolonged happiness but shows brief signs of disgust or sadness, this incongruence suggests that the happiness may not be genuine. Congruence can also be evaluated through tone of voice and speech rhythm. If someone says they are calm but speaks quickly and with a high-pitched tone, there is an incongruence that may indicate nervousness or anxiety. Studies show that tone of voice and speech rhythm are powerful indicators of emotions and can reveal much about a person's internal state, even when their words say otherwise. In negotiations or interviews, congruence between words and actions is particularly important. A negotiator who claims to be willing to reach an agreement but constantly shows signs of disinterest or resistance, such as avoiding eye contact or adopting a closed posture, is not being congruent. This misalignment can be an indication that the negotiator is not genuinely committed to the agreement. In personal relationships, congruence is equally important. In relationships, trust is built on the consistency between what is said and what is done. If a person says they value time with their partner but frequently gets distracted by their phone or other activities, this lack of alignment can create distrust and tension. Correct interpretation of congruence requires practice and careful observation. It is not enough to simply listen to the words or observe gestures in isolation. It is necessary to consider the complete message, taking into account all elements of communication. This includes the environment, the person's usual behavior, and any sudden changes or inconsistencies that may arise. Chapter 3: Practical Applications of Body Language Reading. Personal relationships. In personal relationships, identifying lies can be especially challenging, but it is also crucial for maintaining trust and authenticity. Friends and partners who lie frequently can cause significant damage to relationships, creating distrust and resentment. Understanding the signs of deception and emotional manipulation can help protect these relationships. When it comes to identifying lies in friendships and relationships, context and congruence between words and actions are fundamental. A person who says they are satisfied in a relationship but frequently shows signs of discontent, such as frequent sighs, sad expressions, or a distant look, may be hiding their true feelings. The discrepancy between what is said and the behavior exhibited is a clear sign that something is not right. One of the most common signs of lying is facial incongruence. Microexpressions of disgust, anger, or sadness that appear briefly before being suppressed can indicate that the person is not being sincere. These expressions are involuntary and difficult to control, revealing true emotions that contradict spoken words. For example, a partner who claims to be happy in a relationship but displays a microexpression of disgust or sadness may be hiding their true emotional state. Eye movements are also revealing. Looking to the right during a conversation may indicate that the person is constructing a story, while looking to the left suggests they are trying to recall something genuine. However, it is important not to jump to conclusions based on a single gesture. The person's usual behavioral pattern and the context should always be considered. Posture and gestures can also indicate lying. A rigid or overly controlled posture can be a conscious effort to appear calm and trustworthy, while gestures such as touching the face, rubbing the nose, or scratching the head can signal nervousness and attempts at self-soothing. These adaptive gestures are often involuntary and occur when someone is under stress or lying. Vocal signs are equally important. Changes in tone of voice, frequent pauses, and an irregular speech rhythm can suggest that the person is inventing or hiding information. Dryness in the mouth caused by increased adrenaline when lying can lead to frequent lip licking or excessive swallowing. These are indicators that, when observed in conjunction with other signs, can help identify lies. Emotional manipulation is another common form of deception in personal relationships. Manipulators often use tactics to control or influence the feelings and behaviors of others for their own benefit. These signs can be subtle, but understanding how they operate can help protect against emotional abuse. One of the most common emotional manipulation tactics is gaslighting. This technique involves making the other person doubt their perception, memory, or sanity. For example, a friend or partner may vehemently deny something they said or did, making you doubt your memory. This can lead to confusion and a loss of self-confidence. Another form of manipulation is the use of guilt. Manipulators often try to make the victim feel guilty for expressing their needs or feelings. They may play the victim, cry, or use phrases like, "I thought you loved me," to manipulate emotionally. This type of behavior aims to control the person through feelings of guilt and obligation. Emotional manipulation can also involve triangulation, where the manipulator uses a third person to create jealousy, insecurity, or competition. This can be done subtly, such as making plans that do not include the victim or spreading rumors to undermine other friendships. The goal is to control the victim's social environment, making them more dependent on the manipulator. Identifying these signs requires careful observation and sensitivity to the nuances of human behavior. It is important to trust your instincts and notice when something does not feel right. If someone constantly makes you doubt yourself, feel guilty, or insecure without a clear reason, it may be a sign of emotional manipulation. In friendships, signs of lying and manipulation can be as devastating as in romantic relationships. A friend who lies repeatedly can cause irreparable damage to trust and emotional security. Signs of dishonesty, such as avoiding eye contact, microexpressions of discontent or anxiety, and inconsistencies between words and actions, indicate that the friendship may be based on false premises. Emotional manipulation in friendships can include control through social exclusion, when a manipulative friend isolates the victim from other friends or social events. This can be done subtly, such as making plans that do not include the victim or spreading rumors to undermine other friendships. The goal is to control the victim's social environment, making them more dependent on the manipulator. In all these cases, it is essential to maintain a behavioral baseline, meaning understanding how the person typically behaves in everyday situations. Any significant deviation from this usual behavior can be a sign that something is wrong. For example, if a normally open and expressive friend becomes reserved and evasive, this may indicate they are hiding something. Open and honest communication is key to dealing with lies and manipulation in personal relationships. Confronting the person calmly and directly about your observations can often bring the truth to light. However, be prepared for reactions, which may include denial or counteraccusations. Staying calm and focusing on facts rather than emotions can help resolve the situation more effectively. Another crucial aspect in identifying lies and emotional manipulation is awareness of the repetition of certain behaviors. If someone frequently uses manipulation tactics, such as gaslighting or guilt induction, this may indicate a pattern of toxic behavior that needs to be addressed. In healthy relationships, individuals should feel free to express their emotions and needs without fear of reprisals or manipulations. Self-assessment also plays a role in detecting emotional manipulation. Often, victims of manipulators may begin to internalize guilt or feel their perceptions are invalid. Keeping a journal of interactions and feelings can help identify patterns of manipulative behavior and reaffirm your sanity. In romantic relationships, emotional intimacy makes detecting lies and manipulation even more complex. Partners who manipulate emotionally may alternate between affectionate and cruel behaviors, creating a cycle of emotional dependency. This cycle can include moments of idealization followed by devaluation and emotional abandonment, a technique known as cyclical abuse. Recognizing this pattern is vital for breaking the cycle and seeking help. Additionally, therapy can be an effective tool for dealing with emotional manipulation and lies in personal relationships. Trained therapists can help victims recognize manipulation signs, develop coping strategies, and strengthen self-esteem. In some cases, it may be necessary to set clear boundaries or even end a relationship to preserve emotional well-being. It is important to remember that emotional manipulation and lies in relationships are not just issues of ineffective communication but often involve power and control dynamics. Manipulators seek to dominate their victims, often creating an emotional dependency that is difficult to break. Recognizing this dynamic and seeking support is crucial to regain control over your own life. In friendships, power dynamics can also be subtle but equally harmful. Manipulative friends may use secrets and confidences as weapons, creating an environment of distrust and isolation. Sharing concerns with other trusted friends and seeking support within your network can help mitigate the impact of a manipulator. In both situations, it is essential to cultivate self-confidence and emotional independence. Developing a strong sense of identity and autonomy can help resist attempts at manipulation and lies. Engaging in activities that boost self-esteem, such as hobbies, exercise, and continuous education, can provide a solid foundation of confidence. Additionally, educating yourself about emotional manipulation techniques and signs of lies can empower victims to recognize and respond effectively. Numerous resources are available, including books, articles, and workshops that provide practical tools and valuable insights. In the family context, where relationships are often deeply rooted and emotionally charged, detecting lies and manipulation can be particularly challenging. Family members who manipulate emotionally may use shared history and family loyalty to justify their behavior. Recognizing that no one has the right to manipulate or deceive, regardless of the family bond, is an important step in establishing healthy boundaries. In all types of personal relationships, transparency and trust are fundamental. Building a foundation of honesty and open communication can prevent most deception and manipulation problems before they become harmful. Encouraging an environment where people feel safe to express their true emotions and concerns can significantly strengthen interpersonal bonds. If deception or manipulation is detected, addressing it directly and compassionately is crucial. This may involve difficult but necessary conversations about expectations and boundaries within the relationship. In some cases, it may be helpful to involve a mediator or counselor to facilitate communication and help resolve conflicts healthily. Work environment. In the work environment, the ability to detect lies can be extremely valuable, especially in job interviews and meetings. Understanding how to read nonverbal signals can help identify the truthfulness of information and intentions, preventing deception and ensuring more informed decisions. During job interviews, candidates often try to present the best version of themselves, which can lead to exaggerations or omissions of facts. However, body language can reveal inconsistencies and provide clues about the veracity of responses. For example, a candidate who avoids eye contact when answering a specific question may be hiding something. Looking away, especially to the right, may suggest that the person is constructing a response rather than recalling actual information. Conversely, a fixed, unbroken stare may be a conscious attempt to appear confident, but is often perceived as artificial. Microexpressions are particularly useful in detecting lies in interviews. These brief and involuntary facial expressions can reveal emotions that the candidate is trying to hide. A quick, forced smile that disappears quickly, or an expression of anxiety that briefly appears before being replaced by a facade of confidence are indicators that the person may not be entirely truthful. Studies conducted by Paul Ekman show that these microexpressions are universal and can indicate true emotions regardless of the words spoken. Posture and gestures also provide valuable information. A candidate who sits tensely with rigid shoulders and restless hands may be nervous or trying to hide the truth. Self-touch movements, such as rubbing hands or touching the face, are often signs of discomfort or anxiety. These gestures can indicate that the person is under stress, possibly due to an attempt to deceive. Additionally, tone of voice and speech rhythm are crucial indicators. Changes in tone, such as a higher-pitched voice or frequent pauses, may suggest that the person is nervous or not telling the truth. The frequency of swallowing or the need to lick the lips frequently can also be signs of stress. In work meetings, the ability to detect lies can be equally important. Participants who look away, display microexpressions of doubt or discomfort, or have a closed posture, such as crossed arms or leaning back, may not be entirely transparent. This can be particularly relevant during discussions about projects, finances, or performance. In negotiations and sales, reading nonverbal signals is essential for understanding the true intentions and feelings of the other party. An experienced negotiator pays attention not only to what is said but also to the body signals that accompany the words. For example, a customer who says they're satisfied with an offer but shows signs of hesitation, such as biting their lips or touching their face, may be trying to hide their true dissatisfaction in hopes of getting a better deal. Similarly, open gestures, such as palms facing up and a relaxed posture, suggest sincerity and willingness to collaborate. In contrast, closed gestures, such as crossed arms or hands hidden in pockets, can indicate resistance or dishonesty. The context of the negotiation is crucial. The same gesture can have different meanings depending on the situation and the history of the parties involved. During sales presentations, observing the audience's reaction can provide insights into their true interest and receptivity. Customers who maintain eye contact, nod, and have an open posture are generally interested and engaged. Conversely, those who avoid eye contact, cross their arms, or display microexpressions of disgust or disinterest may not be convinced by the product or service presented. Another important aspect is the synchronicity between words and actions. If a seller claims that a product is of high quality but displays signs of nervousness, such as trembling hands or hesitant speech, this can raise doubts about the truthfulness of the statement. Congruence between speech and body language is a strong indicator of sincerity. Albert Mehrabian, in his studies on nonverbal communication, highlighted that when there is incongruence between words and actions, people tend to trust nonverbal communication more. Furthermore, observing behavioral patterns over time is crucial. A customer who is usually confident and assertive but suddenly becomes evasive or hesitant may be hiding information or trying to manipulate the negotiation. Recognizing these changes and addressing them directly can clarify true intentions and facilitate a more transparent negotiation. Reading nonverbal signals can also help identify negotiation opportunities. For example, a customer who initially seems disinterested but whose body language changes to a more open and engaged posture after certain information is presented may be more receptive to a revised offer. Understanding these signals can help negotiators adjust their strategies in real time to maximize success. In the work environment, detecting lies is not limited to interviews and negotiations. Regular meetings, performance discussions, and even informal office interactions can benefit from the ability to read body language. Employees who exhibit signs of dishonesty or manipulation can be identified and addressed before their behaviors cause significant damage to the team or projects. Team building and group dynamics are also areas where detecting lies and manipulation can be crucial. A team member who consistently exhibits signs of deception or manipulation can undermine group cohesion and trust. Identifying and addressing these behaviors can promote a healthier and more collaborative work environment. Additionally, the ability to detect lies can be a valuable tool for leaders and managers. Making informed decisions about hiring, promotions, and resource allocations depend on the accuracy of the information received. Leaders who can identify signs of dishonesty have an advantage in creating effective teams and making strategic decisions. To develop these skills, training in body language reading and lie detection can be extremely helpful. Workshops, courses, and specific reading materials can provide the knowledge and practice needed to enhance these skills. Regular practice and conscious observation of daily interactions are also essential for developing a refined sensitivity to nonverbal signals. The importance of congruence between words and actions cannot be underestimated. In an environment where trust is fundamental, any discrepancy between what is said and what is shown can undermine a person's credibility. For example, a manager who says they value their team's opinions but rarely allows feedback or ignores suggestions creates a dissonance that can lead to demotivation and distrust. However, when words and actions are aligned, the message is clear and cohesive, promoting an environment of transparency and trust. Detecting lies in job interviews is particularly critical. Hiring the wrong person based on false or exaggerated information can result in performance problems, internal conflicts, and wasted resources. Therefore, experienced interviewers carefully observe the candidate's body language, looking for signs of discomfort or inconsistency when sensitive questions are asked. An effective approach is to ask verification questions, where the interviewer asks the candidate to provide more details or explain specific situations. The responses can reveal inconsistencies or hesitations that were not initially evident. In negotiations, the ability to read between the lines can transform the outcome of a discussion. For example, a buyer who claims to be satisfied with a price but shows signs of hesitation, such as rapid blinking or avoiding eye contact, may be seeking a price reduction. Similarly, a seller who appears confident but displays microexpressions of nervousness may be aware of flaws in the product or service that have not been disclosed. Congruence is equally important in negotiations. A negotiator who maintains an open and relaxed posture, gestures naturally, and maintains eye contact is more likely to be perceived as sincere and trustworthy. Conversely, closing gestures, such as crossed arms or hiding hands, may indicate that the person is not being entirely honest or is hiding something. Observing these signals can provide a strategic advantage, allowing adjustments to the approach and negotiation strategy. In the sales environment, understanding the customer's body language can be the difference between closing or losing a deal. Successful salespeople are those who can interpret subtle signals and adjust their approach as needed. If a customer shows interest but also signs of hesitation, a salesperson can provide more information, guarantees, or even a small concession to close the sale. Similarly, recognizing signs of disinterest or resistance can allow the salesperson to redirect the conversation or address the customer's specific concerns. Effective team formation depends on the ability to detect honesty and integrity in members. An employee who consistently exhibits signs of dishonesty can create a toxic environment, affecting team morale and productivity. Leaders who can identify these behaviors early can take corrective measures, whether through constructive feedback or, in extreme cases, seeking a replacement. Detecting lies and manipulation is also crucial in performance evaluations. Employees who exaggerate their achievements or minimize their mistakes can negatively impact team evaluations. Leaders who observe nonverbal signs, such as microexpressions of doubt or discomfort during performance discussions, can request more details or evidence to corroborate the employee's claims. In the context of work meetings, the ability to read body language can significantly improve group dynamics and communication effectiveness. Participants who show signs of disengagement, such as avoiding eye contact, leaning back, or crossing their arms, may be disinterested or in disagreement with what is being discussed. Identifying these signs allows the meeting facilitator to adjust their approach, perhaps inviting these participants to share their opinions or clarify doubts. Additionally, reading nonverbal signals can help identify alliances and conflicts within the group. For example, two colleagues who frequently exchange looks of agreement or smiles may be aligned in their opinions, while those who avoid eye contact or show signs of discomfort when communicating may have unresolved conflicts. Recognizing these dynamics can help address problems before they escalate. Social situations. In social and networking events, the ability to detect hidden interests and intentions can be extremely advantageous. Understanding body language and nonverbal signals allows you to navigate these interactions more effectively, identifying potential opportunities and avoiding pitfalls. In a networking situation, first impressions are crucial. A person's posture can reveal much about their level of interest and openness to interaction. Someone who approaches with an upright posture, relaxed shoulders, and a slight forward lean generally demonstrates genuine interest. This openness is reinforced by gestures such as nodding and smiling, which involve the eyes, suggesting receptivity and willingness to connect. In contrast, a closed posture with crossed arms and a backward lean can indicate disinterest or even distrust. These nonverbal signals are instinctive and often unconscious, reflecting the person's true feelings. Eye movements are also important indicators in social events. Direct and frequent eye contact suggests interest and attention. However, balance should be observed. A fixed, unbroken stare can be perceived as aggressive or uncomfortable. Looking away can indicate disinterest, nervousness, or even an attempt to hide something. Studies show that people who are genuinely engaged in a conversation tend to maintain eye contact for about 60 to 70% of the time. This level of eye contact creates a sense of connection and mutual trust. Hand gestures can complement or contradict spoken words. Open hands with palms facing up indicate honesty and willingness to connect. These gestures are often accompanied by overall body language that suggests transparency and interest. Conversely, hands hidden in pockets or behind the back can signal that the person is hiding something or feels insecure. Body language studies suggest that people who feel uncomfortable or threatened tend to hide their hands as a protection mechanism. Facial expressions are another essential element in reading intentions. A genuine smile, which involves the muscles around the eyes, is a strong indicator that the person is truly interested and friendly. These smiles, known as Duchenne smiles, are difficult to fake because they involve muscles that are not easily controlled consciously. In contrast, a smile that involves only the lips can be a sign that the person is pretending to be interested. Microexpressions, which are brief and involuntary, can reveal true emotions before the person has a chance to mask them. For example, a microexpression of dislike may appear briefly before being replaced by a forced smile. During conversations at social events, the tone and rhythm of the voice also provide clues about a person's intentions. A steady voice and a consistent speech rhythm suggest confidence and sincerity. Changes in tone or an irregular speech rhythm may indicate that the person is nervous or trying to deceive. The frequency of pauses and hesitations may increase when someone is fabricating a story or trying to hide the truth. Research indicates that the brain works harder to fabricate false information, which is reflected in less fluid speech. Personal space is another area to observe. The distance a person maintains during interaction can indicate their level of comfort and interest. Getting closer indicates a desire to connect, while stepping back may suggest discomfort or disinterest. However, cultural norms should be considered, as different cultures have different tolerances for physical proximity. Generally, a comfortable distance in Western networking contexts is about an arm's length. The synchrony of movements between two people can also be a sign of connection. When two people are in sync, their movements tend to mirror each other naturally. This phenomenon, known as mimicry, is an indicator that people are getting along and are interested in each other. Studies show that mimicry creates a sense of empathy and understanding, facilitating more effective communication. In addition to individual signals, group dynamics can also provide valuable insights. At a social event, observing how people interact with each other can reveal alliances, hierarchies, and even hidden tensions. For example, a group that frequently looks to one person before making decisions or laughing at their jokes may indicate that this person is the informal leader of the group. Understanding these dynamics can help you better navigate social interactions and identify the influential people you should connect with. In networking situations, the ability to detect lies or hidden intentions is especially important. Someone who is exaggerating their skills or experience may display signs of dishonesty, such as microexpressions of anxiety or inconsistent body movements. For example, a person who claims to have extensive experience in a specific field but avoids eye contact or displays defensive body language may be lying. Confronting these signs with specific questions and observing the responses can help discern the truth. Congruence between words and actions is fundamental. If someone says they are interested in collaborating but shows closing signals, such as crossed arms or stepping back, there is an incongruence that may indicate dishonesty. Studies show that people are more likely to trust nonverbal signals than words, especially when there is a discrepancy between the two. Therefore, paying attention to body language can provide a more accurate picture of a person's true intentions. In social events where many interactions are brief and superficial, the ability to read nonverbal signals can help you decide where to invest your time and energy. Quickly identifying who is genuinely interested in a connection can increase the effectiveness of your interactions. For example, if someone maintains an open posture, makes consistent eye contact, and displays genuine facial expressions, they are more likely to be interested in a meaningful interaction. Furthermore, observing repeated behaviors over time can provide additional insights. If a person consistently displays signs of dishonesty or manipulation, this may indicate a pattern of behavior that should be approached with caution. Similarly, someone who repeatedly demonstrates signs of genuine interest is likely a valuable connection. Chapter 4. Practicing Body Language Reading. Practical exercises. Improving body language reading skills requires practice and dedication. There are various activities and exercises that can be undertaken to develop the ability to interpret gestures, facial expressions, and other nonverbal signals. Case studies and self-evaluation are also valuable tools in this process. An effective activity for enhancing the reading of facial expressions is watching videos of interviews, speeches, or TV shows without sound. By turning off the audio, you can focus exclusively on the facial expressions and gestures of the people, trying to identify their emotions and intentions. Watch the video several times, noting your observations, and then compare them with a version with sound to verify the accuracy of your interpretations. This exercise helps fine-tune your sensitivity to microexpressions and subtle behavioral changes. Another useful technique is mirroring. This exercise involves observing someone and then trying to replicate their facial expressions and gestures in front of a mirror. By doing this, you become more aware of the muscle movements and sensations associated with different expressions. This practice not only improves your ability to recognize expressions in others, but also helps develop empathy as you begin to understand the emotions behind the gestures. Participating in role-playing games can also be very beneficial. In a group setting, assign roles where some people must fake specific emotions or intentions while others try to identify who is faking and what their true emotions are. This type of activity simulates real-life situations and allows you to practice detecting signs of dishonesty in a controlled and safe environment. Active listening practice is also fundamental. During a conversation, pay attention not only to the words but also to the tone of voice, speech rhythm, and pauses. Observe how these elements align or contrast with a person's facial expressions and gestures. Note any incongruities you perceive and try to understand what these signals might reveal about the person's feelings and intentions. To improve the interpretation of microexpressions, you can use online tools and specific applications. There are programs developed by researchers, such as Paul Ekman, that offer intensive training in microexpressions. These applications usually show short videos of people displaying microexpressions and ask you to identify the emotion demonstrated. With regular practice, your ability to recognize these quick and involuntary expressions improves significantly. Case studies are another valuable method for honing your skills. Analyze videos of real situations, such as political speeches, courtroom testimonies, or interviews, where the truthfulness of the information is crucial. Observe the nonverbal signals of individuals and try to determine if they are being honest or if there are signs of deception. Compare your conclusions with expert analysis or the outcome of events to assess the accuracy of your interpretations. Self-evaluation is an essential part of the skill development process. Record videos of yourself talking about various topics, both true and fictitious. Watch the videos and try to identify your own signs of nervousness, dishonesty, or comfort. Observe your body language, microexpressions, and tone of voice. This exercise helps increase self-awareness and identify behavioral patterns you may be projecting involuntarily. Additionally, engaging in structured debates or discussions can sharpen your skills in detecting lies and manipulation. During these debates, pay attention to the nonverbal signals of other participants and try to identify moments of inconsistency or dishonesty. Noting your observations and discussing them with a mentor or study group can provide valuable feedback and help refine your skills. Regular practice of meditation and mindfulness can increase your sensitivity to emotions and nonverbal signals. These practices help develop a calm and focused mind allowing better perception of subtle signals during interactions. Meditation also improves the ability to maintain emotional control, essential for correctly interpreting nonverbal signals without projecting your own emotions. Observation exercises in public environments are also highly recommended. Go to a cafe, park, or other busy place and observe people's interactions. Try to identify their emotions and intentions based on their body language and facial expressions. Note your observations and, if possible, discuss them with a colleague to validate your interpretations. This type of exercise helps practice in a dynamic and realistic environment, increasing the applicability of your skills. To improve the reading of signals in negotiations, practice simulation scenarios with colleagues. Recreate negotiation situations where one participant tries to hide information or manipulate the discussion. The other participants should try to detect these attempts by observing nonverbal signals. After the exercise, discuss the observed signals and compare them with the participants' real intentions. This not only improves your detection skills but also increases understanding of negotiation strategies. Reading books and articles by experts in nonverbal communication is also essential. Authors such as Paul Ekman, Joe Navarro, and Amy Cuddy offer deep insights into body language and lie detection. Incorporating this knowledge into your daily practices can significantly improve your interpretation skills. Another useful exercise is practicing the bluff technique in card games like poker. These games require players to closely observe the nonverbal signals of opponents to identify bluffs. Regularly participating in poker games can help develop a refined sensitivity to signs of dishonesty and improve your ability to interpret body language under pressure. In professional environments, role-playing practice with interview or meeting scenarios can be extremely helpful. Recreate situations where an interviewer must identify signs of dishonesty in a candidate or where a manager must detect manipulation in a team meeting. These simulations allow practice in a controlled and safe environment, receiving immediate feedback to improve your skills. Finally, continuous reflection and learning are essential. After any significant interaction, take time to reflect on the nonverbal signals observed and your interpretations. Compare your observations with the interaction outcome and adjust your approaches as needed. Keeping an observation journal can be a valuable tool for tracking your progress and identifying areas for improvement. Everyday tips. Applying body language reading in everyday situations can transform how you communicate and understand others. Developing intuition and observation skills is fundamental for correctly interpreting nonverbal signals. Here are some practical tips to enhance your body language reading abilities in daily life. First, start paying attention to people's postures. In a casual conversation, observe if the person is leaning forward, which usually indicates interest and attention. Conversely, a withdrawn posture with the body leaning back may suggest disinterest or discomfort. Paying attention to these details helps adjust your approach and improve communication. If you notice someone is uncomfortable, you can adapt your language or change the subject to create a more comfortable environment. Eye movements are another important indicator. During a conversation, constant eye contact indicates engagement and sincerity. However, if the person frequently looks away, especially when answering direct questions, they may be hiding something or feeling insecure. For example, in a work meeting, someone who avoids looking directly at colleagues while presenting may be nervous or not entirely confident in the material presented. Facial expressions are one of the most revealing areas of body language. Genuine smiles, which involve the muscles around the eyes, indicate joy and sincerity. In contrast, a smile that only involves the mouth may be forced or fake. In everyday interactions, such as conversations with colleagues or friends, observe if facial expressions match the words spoken. If someone says they are happy but displays a sad or tense expression, there is an incongruence that warrants attention. Hand gestures also provide valuable clues. Open hands with palms facing up usually indicate openness and willingness to communicate. Conversely, hands hidden in pockets or behind the back can signal insecurity or a desire to hide something. During a negotiation or discussion, observe how the other party uses their hands to reinforce or contradict their words. Gestures that do not match the speech may suggest dishonesty or uncertainty. Tone of voice and speech rhythm are equally important. A stable voice and a consistent speech rhythm generally indicate confidence and sincerity. Changes in tone, frequent pauses, and hesitations may suggest nervousness or an attempt at deception. For example, if someone stutters or takes long pauses when answering a simple question, this may indicate they are trying to think of an acceptable response, possibly because they are hiding the truth. Developing intuition involves trusting your instincts and perceptions. Often, our subconscious picks up on signals that our conscious mind may not immediately recognize. If something feels off in an interaction, trust your intuition and investigate further. Noting your observations and reflecting on them can help identify patterns and improve your sensitivity to nonverbal signals. Active listening practice is crucial. This means not only hearing the words but also paying attention to the nonverbal signals accompanying the speech. Slightly leaning forward, making eye contact, and nodding are signs that you are engaged and interested in the conversation. Additionally, asking open-ended questions can help reveal more information and allow observation of additional reactions and behaviors. An effective technique for developing observation is participating in mirroring games. Practice mimicking other people's facial expressions and postures in front of a mirror. This not only increases awareness of the muscle movements associated with different emotions, but also helps develop empathy and understanding of others' emotions. In social environments, observe how people group and interact. Group dynamics can reveal much about alliances, hierarchies, and conflicts. At a party, for example, who gravitates towards a specific individual? Who appears isolated or uncomfortable? These observations can provide insights into interpersonal relationships and underlying tensions. In professional settings, body language reading can be used to improve communication and collaboration. During meetings, observe participants' engagement or disinterest signals. Adjust your approach as needed to maintain attention and participation. If you notice someone is uncomfortable or disagrees with what is being said, consider asking for feedback or opening space for discussion. Self-evaluation is also essential. Record videos of your interactions and observe your body language. Are you demonstrating signs of confidence and openness? Or are there gestures and postures that may be interpreted as defensive or insecure? Identifying and correcting these behaviors can significantly improve your social and professional interactions. Conclusion. Throughout this book, we have explored the fascinating and complex art of body language reading, a field that, for me, is not just theoretical but deeply personal. My journey to understand nonverbal signals began after numerous situations where I was deceived and manipulated, both in personal and professional contexts. These events motivated me to dive deep into the study of body language, seeking tools that would help me better navigate the maze of human interactions and avoid being fooled again. We revisited several essential aspects of body language reading, from understanding the importance of congruence between words and actions to the ability to detect lies through microexpressions and other subtle signals. We learned that a person's posture and gestures can reveal a lot about their true intentions and feelings, while facial expressions often betray emotions that words try to hide. The analysis of eye movements and the synchronicity between verbal and nonverbal communication are equally crucial for accurate interpretation. In job interviews and meetings, for example, recognizing signs of nervousness or inconsistency can be key to hiring the right person or making informed strategic decisions. In negotiations and sales, correctly reading nonverbal signals can determine the success or failure of a transaction, allowing real-time adjustments to achieve the best results. In social settings, the ability to detect hidden interests and intentions can help form more authentic connections and avoid potentially harmful situations. But the true essence of body language reading goes beyond mere observation. It involves continuous practice and constant refinement. Like any skill, reading nonverbal signals requires dedication and a keen eye for detail. Regular practice, honest self-evaluation, and continuous learning are essential to improving this skill over time. My final message to you, the reader, is an invitation to embark on this journey with determination and curiosity. I know from personal experience that being deceived can leave deep scars, but can also be the catalyst for significant transformation. By developing your body language reading skills, you not only protect yourself from deception, but also enhance your ability to connect more genuinely and empathetically with others. Body language reading is not about constant distrust, but about better understanding the people around you. It is a powerful tool that can enrich your interactions, strengthen your relationships, and boost your confidence in various contexts. Practicing this skill can lead to a more conscious and connected life, where words are just one part of complete communication. Therefore, I encourage you to keep practicing, observing, and learning. The journey to becoming an attentive observer and effective communicator is endless, but each step along the way brings valuable rewards. Believe in your ability to see beyond words and trust the signals your body and intuition provide. With dedication and patience, you can transform the way you interact with the world and, in turn, avoid being deceived again. Because we know how much it hurts,